Well, it's just probably a disappointing weekend for you guys with the series loss to Ohio State. Just kind of, frankly, what happened out there during the second and third game of the doubleheader, and just your bullpen.
Well, we lost those 2 games. That's what happened. So we didn't play good enough to win the games. We got outplayed in those games. We outplayed them on Friday. Had a pretty thorough and complete game on Friday, and then on Saturday we were just in parts. We didn't play a complete game, and they got the better of us.
Back, Brett.
Coach, kind of going off that, was there anything in particular you learned from these losses where you feel like you guys can get better, or was it just kind of a one-off? You just got to let it go, and the type of baseball obviously the team can play.
No, I mean the clear thing is that we've got a talented group, we've got a good club, and by and large we've got an inexperienced club in a lot of ways. And so when the inexperience shows up, it's never all that fun because that usually means it's a negative thing, and that's what we saw on Saturday. But nevertheless, yeah, there was quite a few things that I think you can take away from that and help grow the club and improve them, and that's the job of the coaches.
Back to Jared.
Just long ride home from Columbus. Just what was your overall message to the team, and just how do you guys look to rebound this weekend or this week? First with Portland, then Michigan.
Well, you got to have a short memory. First of all, that wasn't the message the other day. To be honest with you, after Saturday, there wasn't a lot to be said. It was a pretty bad day, right? That's not really a day that you have a lot of excitement in whatsoever. When you go on 2 on a day and you lose a series, and I think you have the lead in those games. There were things that went on early in the game that we could have done better with to be able to extend the lead, have better at-bats early in the game, or do stuff in those games early in the game. And there were things we could have done late in the game that would have been better. But we didn't play good enough to win. And so the details of what we need to fix, we have been on now for our prep and our planning, and we get a chance to be on a practice field in about an hour and a half now.
In the back, Ronald, then Brett next to him.
Have you seen enough out of your team so far to have the faith and confidence that they can, make those corrections and be able to rebound from this?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Brett.
Kind of on a positive note, just, can you talk a little bit about Maddox play this season? I mean, I covered him a lot last year as a freshman, did a story on him. How have you seen kind of his growth from year 1 and into year 2 already?
Well, I mean, he had a heck of a weekend this last weekend. Anytime you hit, I don't know what it's like to hit 5 home runs on a weekend and have 10 RBIs, and yet he didn't even win the Conference Player of the Week. I think there was a young man from Maryland and even had a better weekend, which is really remarkable. Credit to him. But Maddox is, outside of that, those are the stat lines that he threw out there, and yet you watched him play defense, and he made countless awesome plays in the field. The play that he made on Friday night's game reminded me of Sabine Ceballos in the regional at Vanderbilt, to be able to kind of secure the win in that game with a slow roller play, bare hand, throw a guy out at first against Vanderbilt in that game. The play that he made on Friday night was similar to that. Ohio State's record going into the weekend wasn't great in conference play, and yet, boy, they have a very talented roster in terms of their team speed. It's remarkable. And for Maddox to be able to play as well as he did defensively, it's probably not going to be the topic of discussion because everybody looks at the bat and the hitting. But he played very, very well defensively, and that was equally as impressive for me.
Jared and then Alec.
Going back to game 2 of the doubleheader on Saturday, or game 3 total, what was the logic behind going with Knox and Mechna there? Was Julian Hernandez, was he hurt, or Sam Boyle? What was kind of the logic to send those 2 freshmen out there in a 5-4 game?
Because they've pitched better.
I think you're close to about halfway through the season at this point. What, I know obviously your mind is fresh on what just happened and this week, but what have been kind of your impressions of this team? Do you think that you're about where you'd like to be at this point in the year, and then looking ahead to kind of the back half of the year?
Where I'd like to be is undefeated. And nobody in the country, I don't think, is undefeated. And so nobody's really where they would like to be. Like to be in first place in the league. Before the weekend started, we were, and now we're not, and so that's disappointing to me. You got to take the whole body of work to answer that question. The whole body of work, in my opinion, is inconsistent. We see kind of 2 different teams: an inexperienced group at times that can be very, very frustrating, and then a team that looks really awesome at times. And so, that stability is really something that we're focused on to try to really increase the stability of the ball club. I don't think you can get the stability by just brash decisions and, turning the tables over. I think it's it really is a player development thing, and it's something where when development happens, you really got to be patient with development. Sometimes it's painful. It was this weekend.
Ronald.
You mentioned that you're going to be heading to practice soon, but what's sort of the morale of the team? How are they sort of handling these losses?
Well, I think the morale of the team's disappointed about how the weekend went, and I think the morale of the team is, these guys are in the top 20 right now in every major poll, pretty much, and that's fantastic. And so for the team to be playing not its best baseball and still be there, I think is a real positive right there. Because the team knows that there's a lot better in them. We do as coaches. We know there's a lot better in us in terms of getting our guys prepared. And if these are the darkest days of our season, then boy, that's probably going to end up to be a pretty special year. And so there's always about 3 bumps in the road during a college season, and I think we hit one this weekend for sure. And so how we respond is really going to be a true tell for our character and our team moving forward.
For Parker Stinson, a guy who started last Sunday, gets in on the first game of the doubleheader, and plays a couple innings in the outfield as well. Like, at what point do you mentioned that he was one of your better hitters in the fall and this early spring? At what point do you kind of see what you got from him, give him a couple starts? Is that a change that could be coming?
Well, we would love to. We'd love to get everybody healthy first and foremost, right? And as he or anybody else, there's several guys that haven't been healthy, and some of them have tried to return already and have had varying degrees of success. So obviously, yes, with Parker, we'd love to be able to get him out there and give him a run and see if he can really provide a boost for the club.
You anticipate any other kind of changes, either lineup wise, starting pitching wise, going into this? Portland, obviously, probably a bit of a weak guy with Ian, but going into Michigan,
it's not off the table.
You guys, with your remaining schedule, you play Michigan, Iowa, UCLA, obviously the Oregon State series. These are some big time opportunities for you guys to get potentially rank wins, which you have none of yet this year, to get some, schedule boosting wins. Just what's the message to the team, whereas you're going into playing in some of the top teams in the Big Ten?
For me, it's real simple. We're not really focused on who we're playing. We're more focused on how we play.